Hey, what's up? It's Comic95 the Savior, and for this video I will be giving you some quick advice about choosing college in Japan, or for Japan, so to speak. So I'm not going to go into a ton of detail to keep the video from being too long. I have a playlist for students in Japan, for working in Japan, dating, everything else. So if you're new to my channel, please be sure to check those out. If you've been here for a while, make sure you go to my channel's homepage. You can literally use the search bar on my channel and search for various topics and find answers to your questions there. I have well over 200 videos. I think I have over 300 on my YouTube channel. So I do have playlists to break things down a little bit, and of course you can type in keywords and search through my videos that way to find answers to your questions. Or if you have a very specific question or a topic that I haven't gone over, please feel free to leave a comment down below, or you can send me an email. Please send me an email, not a DM, but an email. Everything is down in the description box of this video if you need to contact me directly. So let's go ahead and get to the video. So a question that I was asked recently that I've also been asked before was, hey, like, what should I do as far as getting a degree goes? Should I get a degree in my home country, or should I get one in Japan? And if you've put the math together, me as an American, I think Japanese degrees are actually pretty cheap. But for people from other countries, your school, college is free, or it's not nearly as expensive as it is in the US or Japan. And with that said, it totally depends on you. Quick answer will be get it in your home country. It's not worth it to get it in Japan. But if you want the long answer, I will tell you the stereotypical cliche thing, which is to go after whatever your heart wants you to do. Because at the end of the day, everything that we do is a waste of money. You're really going to school here for the experience because you want to live in Japan, you want to go to school in Japan, you want to have that experience, that life experience. We all want that. And that's really what you're paying for, and you're going to get that if you go to college here. That's just real straightforward advice. However, if you're talking about as far as getting your money's worth and all of that good stuff as far as careers go, etc., I've said this before in other videos, but foreign degrees are worth so much more than a Japanese degree, no matter what job you're trying to go for, because foreign schools are seen as more prestigious than schools that are within Japan. The opposite is generally true from the US. The only thing that is prestigious in the US is saying that you did a study abroad or that you went to college in a foreign country. But at the end of the day, the top schools are in the US. That's how the entire world views it. I don't make the rules. I didn't decide the game. I'm just a messenger. I'm telling you how it goes here. Japan loves stamps, certificates, degrees. So as many of those as you can get in your home country, I highly suggest that you get that while you are there. And of course, you can learn and earn stuff while you're here in Japan as well. But in a nutshell, save yourself the time and money and earn your degree abroad in your home country, especially if it's free. Why go into debt that you don't have to? However, I would give you real advice and tell you what I personally did. If I were you, I would start off with going to school in your home country. So this way you have some credits, you're almost there, whatever. Finish off your last year or two in Japan, or do the reverse. You can start off in Japan and then go back to your home country, and when you're finished with your degree, come back to Japan for work. The reality is, no matter what you have a degree in, it's normally not going to result in significantly more pay, because the reality is all jobs in Japan pay crap in comparison to the jobs in your home country, especially if you happen to be an American. For example, while teacher salaries are nothing great in the US, where I'm from in Chicago, the starting salary is more than double what the starting salary is here in Japan. Yeah, on the lower end of teaching in Chicago, you can make between $20,000–$30,000. $30,000 is kind of a good salary here in Japan for a teacher. People will be impressed and surprised by that, depending on where you live and depending on what your work hours are too, of course. So yeah, keep in mind that generally speaking, while there are other jobs, other careers, regardless of what your native language is, it's very likely that you're going to be a teacher. So with a teacher salary in Japan, on average, you're only going to be getting paid somewhere between $2,200 to $2,700 a month before taxes, which means that after taxes, you're going to be walking away with about $1,800 to $2,000 a month. Do you really want to have student loans from Japan with that type of salary? Because your loans and bills are not going to go away just because you graduated and you made it to Japan. So keep all of that stuff in mind. If you have all expenses paid, whatever, then do whatever you want to do. At the end of the day, you're literally choosing to go to school here for the experience, and that's cool. But I'm just telling you, you're not going to get your money's worth. In Japan, will not recognize your degree as being fancy, cool, or special because you went to school here. All people are going to do is be impressed, like, oh wow, you went to college in Japan, and they're going to assume that you must be fluent in Japanese, which more than likely, if you're like most foreigners here, you are not. Or if you are fluent in speaking, your reading is not, understandably. as far as that goes, basically, like I said, it boils down to what you personally want to do. If your goal is to have the experience of, going to school in Japan, you want to know if that's worth it, then yeah, of course I'd say that it technically is. But to be honest, once again, you have to keep in mind that 90% of the programs that you go through, they're going to be programs that have a large amount of foreigners. So you're not going to be the little token Gaijin that you think you're going to be. But of course, as the foreigner on campus, you are going to get attention, especially if you happen to be attractive and or outgoing. And beyond that, do keep in mind that college students in Japan do not act like how regular working adults do. The girls would be hoes, the boys would be extreme players, which I guess that doesn't change too much in the adult world, but you get my point. People are not going to be as nice and friendly and anime like how you think they're going to be. It doesn't work that way at all. You're not going to be wearing a school uniform. So if that's something that was a deciding factor for you for going to college here, you might want to drop that. What else can I say about schools? I really want to make this a separate video, but I'll go ahead and make it into one video here. If you're debating between going to a language school or going to college, that answer is pretty self-explanatory. I think I did a video on this before, but going to a language school will not result in a career. Do not believe in the dummies inside the comment section that will ensure you, oh my god, if you pass JLPT N2, there's so many opportunities for you. No, there is not, because you want to know what? There's going to be somebody that has a master's degree with the JLPT N1, tons of them, that are going to run circles around you. It's a waste. Nobody cares about language proficiency. Like I said, this is what it comes down to. Think about it in the US. If you are working in HR in the US, are you going to be like, oh my god, this person has a TOEIC score of 930, 50, whatever the top score is? They're not going to give a F. This is the US. Everybody here speaks English. I can easily find somebody that is biracial or that is Hispanic, that was born and raised in Chicago, California, whatever the case is, and they are a native Spanish speaker and a native English speaker. Why do I need you? They're an American too. Okay, Japan is the exact same way. Yes, of course, there are circumstances where there are exceptions to that rule, but it's extremely rare. In a nutshell, your language proficiency will not result in a job by itself. You're generally still going to have to compete with people that have degrees. And with that said, this pandemic situation is a good opportunity to try to find jobs that you could normally get without a degree. I will say that if you're already here. But generally speaking, even after, especially after this whole pandemic, situation hopefully calms down, because it kind of already has calmed down, people still prefer those that have degrees. And the reality is, even the jobs that don't require you to teach or that don't require you to be, a native English speaker, whatever the case is, they're not going to pay you a lot of money. And by not a lot of money, it normally ends up resulting in less money and less hours. So even the positions where it's like, oh, the pay is $50, $60 an hour, how many hours a week are you working? What, 3? 2? You're not even getting half of what a teacher is at this point. Or you're working 20 hours, something really low, then only getting paid $15, $20 an hour, whatever the case is. So you have to do the math and think about these things on your own. So long story short, if you're trying to choose between language school and university, always go with university. And here goes a couple of reasons why. For starts, at a language school, you're going to be around other foreigners. You're not going to get the Japan experience because your class is going to be full of Vietnamese, Chinese, and some Korean students. That's what your class is going to be like. And there's going to be a few token Indian students, few token Aussies, Brits, and Americans, whatever. That's going to be your class pretty much. You're going to have that one random girl from France, the 2 Italians, the German girl, etc. That's going to be your class. So you're not going to feel like you're really in Japan. But I will say, in defense of language schools, you learn Japanese a lot faster because it's more fast paced. They give you more practical, daily words, daily conversational, scenarios, etc. And you have the added pressure to learn Japanese more quickly because your classmates are, even if you're in the lowest class, they're going to be more advanced than you are. They're going to be studying harder than you are. And it's going to push you to want to know your stuff because you're going to be looking stupid when the teacher calls on you and you don't know the answer. Whereas if you go to university, everybody's trying to use you for your English ability. Even if English isn't your first language, they're going to talk to you in English. And if you speak another language, oh, that's great. They're going to ask you to speak to them in that language. Everybody's going to be using you, whether they're dating you, effing you, or being your friend in class because you're the gaijin. It might seem cool for a moment, but you're not going to get any opportunity to really use Japanese. And with that said, you're not going to really learn much Japanese by going to university in Japan, even if you take Japanese class. Most people that go to university come out of that school not being fluent. I'm just saying, it doesn't matter what college you go to. Most of the people that go to college in Japan that do speak Japanese fluently took Japanese in their home country and then came to Japan. So that's that. So in a nutshell, because this video got way longer than I was expecting for it to, as always, All I have to say is, if I were you, I would go to school in my home country. You can literally get a degree in anything. It doesn't have to be in education. It doesn't have to be in anything related to Japan. Any degree is good. This is just to satisfy immigration and to get your foot in the door. However, if you know in your heart you want to be here long term, even if you hate the idea of being a teacher, I highly suggest that you get a degree in education. And if you don't want to listen to me, you're like, oh my god, I can't do it, I hate being a teacher. Well, okay, I'm just saying, if you want to be competitive and want to ensure that you will always have a job and you want stability, that is the degree to go for. But if you just absolutely cannot do that, then I highly suggest that you get a degree in something specific, engineer related. Do not go to school for anything fashion, graphic design, art, whatever. There's a flood of people that are already here that have that stuff and they're making no money. There's tons of Japanese people that have stuff here that are making no money. Do not do it. You are in a land full of artistic people. Why would they want you? How many foreigners are here doing what you want to do that are actually making a living, a good living off of that? And most of the people interested in coming to Japan tend to be men. And men, I'm going to keep it real with you. Japanese women, Asian women, they're old fashioned. They're going to expect for you to be the breadwinner, even if they want to work. And with that said, you ain't finna be bringing home no good money working those kind of jobs. So, just saying, do whatever you want to. I'm giving you advice like I'm your friend. I ain't your mama. You can do anything you want. I'm just giving you my own 2 cents on what I would do. I'm trying to keep you competitive in this market. So in a nutshell, as I've said a million times, a degree is not a requirement absolutely where you have to have it, but it is a requirement from immigration, which means that if you don't have it, it's very hard to get a visa. And secondly, it's very hard to find an employer that will be willing to help you obtain your visa. And even after you get your work visa, you might think, oh yeah, I have my work visa. Wrong. Hello. I speak from personal experience. Do you know that I lost my visa status twice since I've been in Japan? Yeah. With that said, it ain't all that easy, sweetheart. You have to continuously keep and maintain a job, which means that you might get a job and think everything's great because you're here until you realize how little money you have to live off of, or how bad your employer is, or maybe the company closes, or they cut your hours, or they cut your salary, whatever the case is, and now you're stuck. No other job is going to hire you because you lack a degree. So I just got an email. You really need to think about that. So again, you might not want to be a teacher, but you have to ask yourself, do you want to be in Japan? If you want to be here, you're gonna have to make some sacrifices. Almost everybody here started off as a teacher, or they were a teacher for a very long time. And a lot of people that changed careers ended up going back to being a teacher again. People that are veterans that have been in Japan 15, 20 plus years. Either they end up starting their own school, or they go back to being a teacher because it offers the most stable, easiest way to make money, the highest amount of money. All teaching jobs are not created equal. Do not listen to people that hate teaching, talk about how bad it is, etc. And myself included. Everyone's experience is going to be totally different. It depends on what company you work for, what your position is, what city you live in, and what type of school you're working at. I've said this before, but an international school is not the same as an ALT teacher. International Japanese school is not the same as an international IB school. So, you have to think about these things. International school run by foreigners versus run by Japanese. A small school versus a big school. Tokyo school versus countryside. There's a lot that you have to factor in with all of this stuff. So, in a nutshell, just, keep in mind that you're paying the money for the experience. So if you really just want to experience what it's like being a student in Japan, basically you're going to be struggling if you ain't rich and your family ain't got money. Then go ahead and do it. That's what I did. But you don't have to stay here for all 4 years. I didn't do all 4 years here in Japan. So if I were you, I would consider, just doing it short term, 1 year, 2 years. You can go to school online. You can go to school at another campus here in Japan. It doesn't have to be the most expensive Japanese school. You can go to a foreign campus here. You can go back to your home country. Japan will still be here whenever you come back. You don't have to do all 4 years here. You don't have to go to school here at all. Most of the people that are living here did not go to school here. And the ones that went to school here, they came here as language school students, not university students. So in a nutshell, do what you want to do. Get a degree in something either IT related or English related, because those are the 2 highest paying jobs, most consistent jobs for people that want to work here. Technically, I could argue to get a degree in Japanese, but it's completely useless because really, that's just overdoing it. If you got a degree in Japanese and you got the JLPT, etc., unless you know in your heart you are purely going to be a translator and you plan to master kanji, it's going to be a waste because the JLPT test alone would have been enough. But that's another story, and it's a lot less expensive than a degree. So sorry for making it so long, but thank you for listening and thank you for watching. If you have any more questions, please leave them down in the comments down below. If I didn't answer your question entirely, I'm sorry. Please feel free to send me an email or further elaborate so I can answer your question properly. I'm sorry if that didn't give you the answer you were looking for. But yeah, it's not worth it to go into a ton of debt to go to school here, because it's not going to be the experience that you're thinking it's going to be. I was honestly super disappointed. It felt just like going to school in the US. There was nothing fancy. You're not wearing a school uniform. Everybody's not running up to you like, oh my gosh, Gaijin son. People are going to talk to you and look at you and befriend you because you're a foreigner, but then you're going to learn that they're just using you because they think you're going to F them, and they want to have that token Gaijin friend. They want to get free English lessons off of you, or Italian or Spanish or whatever else, trying to learn French, German, the most common languages people want to learn. But Japanese people that are really cool, they want to learn things like Dutch, Italian, German, you know, French, etc. They don't want to be like the other losers, because everybody learns English, so they want to be the unicorn. Plus, let's keep it real, they want to go visit white people. They want to go abroad and go to Europe and go to places where there's lots of blondes. So I'm keeping it real. I'm not being PC with y'all. So yeah, that's pretty much it. You know, do whatever you want to. I wish you the best of luck, whichever you decide, whether you want to go to language school or not. But I will say, long term, if you plan to live here in Japan, like myself included, I plan to enrolling back into a language school. I highly suggest that you sign up for going to a language school, because you will learn Japanese a lot faster than at university, even although you're not getting the same, you know, experience, so to speak. Because I'll be real with you, I mean, going to language school does not feel like going to university, in my opinion. The pace is completely different, the hours totally different, the environment in the classroom is totally different, the teaching style is different, but I feel like it helps you learn Japanese a lot faster. There's more accountability, and the teacher is more serious. I feel like when I was taking Japanese in university, it felt like a kindergarten class, and like it wasn't serious, and there wasn't enough time for us to really be learning anything. So that's that. Yeah, obviously a language school is more immersive. So, but the real difference comes down to this. Graduating from a language school will not give you permission to work in Japan. Doesn't matter. Getting a JLPT does not give you permission to work in Japan. But obtaining a degree of any kind, even if you got a degree in sex, you can get a visa to work here in Japan. Do they have degrees in sex? They should. I would definitely get one. But you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter what your degree is in. It's just a requirement for immigration, and it looks good to the school to say, oh, this teacher has a degree. Our teachers are educated, versus you being the dumbass out of the group that doesn't have them. I'm just keeping it real with you, how they're going to view you. You're not going to be able to negotiate your salary. It's harder to get a sponsor, etc. The truth be told is, the majority of y'all will end up getting into a sham marriage within a year or two, like how most foreigners do. Almost everybody gets married within the first 3 years of being here. And if they don't get married within those first 3 years, they're going to get married eventually. They're going to get a divorce, whatever the case is, in order to obtain a visa, because they don't have a degree. And I've mentioned to you guys before, I thought about this for a very long time. But hey, look at me now. I already have my degree, and I already have my work visa. I've been here for almost 5 years as I've been making this video. So that is it. I'm done with this long video. Sorry I tried to make it short and get to the point. Hope I answered your question. I was talking really fast. That's it. Leave a comment down below if you have any more questions or found this useful, helpful. Send me any more questions that you have about, you know, choosing that. I'll be making another video talking about choosing which company to work for as well. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. You can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Comic95. You can also follow me on TikTok at Comic95 the Savior, and you can add me on Snapchat at Comic the Savior as well. You can also like my Facebook fan page at Comic95 the Savior too, and you can also check out my blog at comic95.com. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you for watching.